welcome back to my channel. My name's Joanne. I'm a mum of 3 children and I home educate those 3 children here in the UK. Today I wanted to bring you a week in the life of our home educating family. This is kind of a last minute video idea, but I have been out and about with my kids this week and we've been getting up to some cool stuff and I thought that it might make a nice video. So please bear with me footage wise. I'm just going to put whatever I got. I do naturally take a lot of pictures and videos of the kids to put onto our WhatsApp group. We have a family WhatsApp group that my husband and my parents are a part of. And so that keeps them all up to date on what we are getting up to out and about. Similar to my last week in a life, there's not been much structured academic stuff that we've been getting up to this week. Both my eldest and my middle child had things that I did ask them to do this week, which were different according to the child, because I like to look at education from the viewpoint of what the child needs rather than what our curriculums are telling us to do. That meant that I asked for my eldest son to keep up with his maths. He's following the Good and the Beautiful level 4 maths at the moment. So we did 4 lessons from that, but we spread it out over 6 days. So like, I guess 3/4 of a lesson on average per day. It evened up like quite nicely. And then my middle son did his handwriting, so just a page a day of handwriting for 6 days, so that by the end he'd completed 6 pages. My daughter continued doing reading eggs as well, but I just let her choose when she wants to do that. And we did some other phonics activities, just like magnets on the fridge, reading books that she enjoys and me pointing out words that she now knows how to read, like hat and mat and cat and those sorts of things. And he has a letter of the week basket with just all things beginning with the letter of the week, which, sorry, I should show you first, is P. So penguins, pine cones, peg dolls, pig, paintbrush, and a penny. I've just been extra aware of the letter P this week and pointing it out wherever we go, and also reinforcing other letters that she knows. We've got all the letters that she knows up on the board at the moment in our art room. So she has her letter of the week letter quite big on there, and then other letters that she's very confident with are on there too. And that just reminds me which letters she definitely knows and we want to keep reviewing. And then I know that her reading eggs is taking her through other letters and sounds as well, and so I'm trying to reinforce those too, but the ones that are on the chalkboard are my main focus. This week has been very heavy on science, and I usually find that when we stop going by the curriculum and we just go by what interests us, that we tend to dive deeply into certain topics. So that this week has definitely been science and electrical circuits. Now that came about because we had finished our Good and the Beautiful science unit, and we didn't move straight onto another science unit because we had no one particular topic that we wanted to look at yet. I had my eye on some Key Stage 3 science lessons because I've been thinking, like I'm always thinking ahead to what we may do next year, what we may do in the future, and my eldest son does have a really strong interest in science. So I'd found Continuity Oak, which is a website where there were, I don't know if the lessons were originally live or not, but there's recorded lessons on all sorts of topics that go according to the national curriculum and cover Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. And they are, I guess they were filmed during the COVID-19 pandemic, but they're still there. And so I asked my eldest son if he'd like to access any of the topics that were there. I just showed him all of the Key Stage 3 topics, science topics, and asked him if he'd like to choose one, and he chose electricity and magnetism. So he's really enjoying doing those lessons. We do them together sort of once or twice a week. We're only a few weeks in. The lessons are usually just under 20 minutes long. We don't do the written work that goes with them. So you are, like, she does ask questions, the teacher, as you go through. We just answer them verbally. So I've been doing the lessons alongside my son and answering the questions alongside him too. And what we've done to keep ourselves busy while we are watching the lessons is we're playing around with a little snap circuit that we have. And that's been a really good introduction to Key Stage 3 science for my eldest son. Now, he is not actually Key Stage 3 yet, technically. He's in Year 6. But like I say, science is a passion of his. So he has gone into the topic with some knowledge that he's gathered just from being interested in it, researching it on YouTube, looking at books and things like that, and playing around with his snap circuit, which we already had. That same son has been doing a lot of coding this week as well. He has a free app called Tinker on his iPad, and he absolutely loves creating games and things on there. He was playing a game on there that is focused on like this small world clock. He's really into different clocks, and then these small world clocks at Disney, which we've never been to. He just researched them. Apparently they're at several different locations throughout the world. Anyway, there was a game on there that then, I don't know if it got deleted or removed or privatized, but he couldn't play it anymore. And so he recreated the game by himself. And it's involved a lot of art because he's had to draw out all of the clock and its features. And like I said, there's 5 different ones. So like the basic template is quite similar, but then they're all different colours and they've got slightly different features. And then he's had to code it so that certain parts move and so that the actual clock hands move in time and all these sorts of things. It plays a tune and all these figures appear. So he's done really well to recreate that. And that took him several days, I guess. Like, it was a long time that it took him, but he was so into it, he didn't want to put it down. And I was quite happy for him to continue because he really did some great work there. My middle son was at the same time on Minecraft, recreating a game that he'd played several times with his dad on PlayStation, I think. And yeah, so he recreated like several of the levels from that, and he would talk me through it and show me what he'd done. And again, he's done really well. So I guess we're indoors more because it's just that time of the year. But I do love seeing how kids come up with ways to keep themselves entertained, and they're learning so much. Like, I am not very good at art, to be honest, and I don't know how to code either. And yet all my kids are picking up those skills, just like they're self-taught. So last Friday we decided to do a trip a little bit further afield, and we kept the science theme going by going to the Science Museum in London. We took the train up, and you just take the train to Victoria and then you can go around on the tube, and it's quite a simple journey really for us. Our kids, all my kids are quite good on the train. They don't mind being on there, and they can keep themselves occupied by just drawing or reading, or we play a card game sometimes while we're going up there. We also have been doing, my middle son's been really into the New York Times app, which has lots of different logic type puzzles on and things like Wordle and crosswords and things like that, connections. And so he and I did a few of those on the way up there. And then, like I say, we got the tube through to South Kensington, and we love the museums there. They're all free. We were thinking of popping into the Natural History Museum as well as the Science Museum, but this time I decided to try Wonderlab. Now, Wonderlab is a paid experience within the Science Museum, but because we've been looking at science a lot this sort of month, I figured that it would be worth it. It was fantastic. Like, I highly recommend it. They've got so much stuff in there. I will put some of the footage on the screen now. I don't know that I caught it in widescreen, I'm afraid, because like I say, I wasn't really filming for YouTube. I was just filming to show my husband and my parents how amazing it was there. We spent the entire morning in Wonderlab until we came out for lunch, and then we went back in after lunch, and then we only had time to look around the rest of the Science Museum. My kids have favourite certain sections because we've been there a few times in the past, and then we didn't get time to go to the Natural History Museum. I think what we're going to do now is, if you've got a Wonderlab ticket, then within 2 weeks of buying it, you can upgrade it to an annual pass. And so I think we're going to do that because it would be well worth it. I think you make your money back if you go just one more time within the year. and we could definitely go again, and then maybe go to the Natural History Museum on that day, or do another full Science Museum day. It was a long day out. We left home I think about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back until like 7:30, something like that. But we also had dinner out on the way home, and it's just a nice experience, and a sort of thing you can do just because when you home educate. There's been lots of other arts and crafts here, as there always is. I will try and insert any pictures I got of stuff the kids have been doing, but all three of them love to create and to draw and to paint. We had a day where we all did watercolours. In terms of getting out and about this week, we have done some cycling, some walking, and we've had a bonfire in the garden. The kids, love going on the trampoline. It's now, we're getting towards the end of December, it's the middle of December, sorry. And they actually spent an hour out on the trampoline earlier today. If it's a nice dry day, the trampoline is excellent, even through winter. So that's been great. Things we've been doing with friends lately, not necessarily all in the last week. In the last week, we went to a trampoline park with some friends, but we've also been with the same friends swimming the week before. And what else have we done? We've had some friends over, and my kids have been going to a little like kids halakha, they call it, on a Sunday afternoon. So that's been really good too. They've been loving that. Just a really enjoyable way to learn some more about the deen and to reinforce Arabic letters. And continuing with our bedtime reading, that is where our symposium time is at the moment, is right before bed. So we do a little bit of memory work, same as always, hadith and poetry, our geography cards, and actually we have been doing our grammar cards recently, only because my eldest hasn't been going through his language arts curriculum as quickly. We pause that for weeks like this because he's natural really at English. So we just read a lot of literature and go through the grammar cards, and I find that that's enough. Books we've been reading, we are continuing with the 5th Harry Potter. I don't actually have it in physical form. We've just been listening to it on Audible. Then we have finished The Secret Mountain by Enid Blyton. And we are now on to Little Lord Fauntleroy by Frances Hodgson Burnett. We have been reading some poetry just here and there, like on the train up to the museum. We took these favourite books along with us, as well as doing our poetry memorisation, which is actually a poem from my eldest son's language arts curriculum. For Islamic Studies, we continue with Safar Islamic Studies Book 5. We only use the textbook, we don't use the workbooks. And then we are just, I think I've only read a few pages of these actually. This is part of a 3-book series. And so we are reading through this book. And then the other book we've been reading through a lot recently, or at a decent pace, is Enid Blyton's Hedgerow Tales. And again, this is Nature Study Science. And then, my daughter's been loving this book. My dad picked it up for her a few months ago, probably around Halloween, since it's witch themed, right? And she absolutely loves it. She likes the fact that she can read certain words like hat, mat, cat, rat. But she also loves this thing where we open it to a page and then we close the page and quiz each other on what's there. So we've been doing that most evenings. Yeah, and I think that's about it. You might notice that there's not any history in there is history actually in our book basket, but we haven't been reading history too much this past month maybe, because if you caught my last week in life video, we were deep into history and really going down all the rabbit holes for a little while. We went on a history trip that week. We also did some more, at least one other history trip a few weeks later, and we just sort of maxed out on it. So we read all the stuff I wanted to read about the Victorian period and also about the Crimean War. but I felt like before we moved on to another topic, it would be good to just have a little breather. And like I say, we've been deep into science this month, and so it's just natural that that's what we're wanting to read about and watch documentaries on and play around with and sort of target our museum visits at. It's all been science themed really this month. So that was our week, or maybe just over a week, to be honest. Maybe 10 days worth of stuff in our house. And like I said, it's just the main stuff that we've been doing. I don't feel like there's any time when a child is not learning. Everything is so new to them. They explore things in the most creative ways. Even when it looks like they're just playing, they pick up so much. And so I feel like we've had a really successful week. I would love to know what you have been up to recently. Please drop me a comment below. And if you like content like this, then please help me out by liking and subscribing and spreading the word. I will see you in my next video. Happy homeschooling.